What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about Killstreak Balance in the current state of Modern Warfare. I did a similar video about this last week talking about perk balance and sharing some of my feedback and ideas for how I feel the perks and overall perk balance could be improved. And this kind of sparked the idea in me to continue this with other aspects of this game because I do think there's lots of room for improvement and optimization, and this is something that we typically see with Call of Duty games throughout the course of their life cycle, and it's not something we've really seen so far with Modern Warfare. So in today's video, I'm just going to be providing my thoughts and feedback for how I feel the Killstreak system could realistically improve based on where it's at currently. Of course, these are just my opinions based on my experience and my preferences, and of course, if you disagree, let me know in the comment section below, or if you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear them. But let's hop into this, and first off, I want to look at the overall Killstreak system before we dive into the individual Killstreaks. Now, my initial thought with the Killstreak system is I'd love it if they could eliminate the different tiers of Killstreaks, and therefore we weren't limited on which Killstreaks we could choose. You could choose any 3 Killstreaks. A big thing, for instance, that I used to always love running in Call of Duty, and I can't run in Modern Warfare, is UAV and counter UAV at the same time. At the same time, though, when I take a closer look at this, it does kind of make sense the way they've organized things with these different tiers of Killstreaks. It would be a little bit jarring if you could select like Cluster Strike, Cruise Missile, and Precision Airstrike, which are all a 5 kill streak. It would be a bit jarring if at 5 kills you get all 3 of those streaks at once. Additionally, it does help them balance things out. Maybe they don't want people to have both UAVs and counter UAVs. So therefore, I see where they're going with this tier system, and I'm at the point now where I've just kind of accepted it, even though I hope it doesn't return in future Call of Duty games. Now, one thing that I have never liked about the Killstreak system though, and I still feel exactly the same way, is the fact that you can't continue to earn killstreaks after you earn your first set of killstreaks in the same life. So what I mean by this is, let's just say I'm running the UAV, the Cruise Missile, and the VTOL. It's a pretty common setup that I typically use. After I get that VTOL on my 8 kill streak, any kills after that will not contribute to earning more kill streaks. So the only way to earn another UAV or another VTOL is to die and do it all over again. And I just don't see any reason for this being the way that it is. I really don't see how it's unfair to continue earning streaks in the same life because you're still putting in the exact same amount of work for every one of the kill streaks that you're earning. After you get that 8 kill streak to get the VTOL, even if it was looping, it's still going to take you another 8 kill streak to get the next VTOL. So why prevent us from being able to do that? Now, of course, I totally understand having a system like this when using the Kill Chain perk. You should not be able to get multiple streaks in the same life with Kill Chain, because that would just be completely overpowered, because then in that case I could earn a VTOL and then I could just go hide in a corner and my VTOL could just earn me another VTOL if it really went off. And for obvious reasons you shouldn't be able to do that. But aside from Kill Chain, I really don't get it. I would love to run some low streaks, like just running UAV for instance, and then just constantly loop through UAVs. It would be a trade-off that I could choose, and I could just eliminate the lethal kill streaks from my loadout and just focus on getting those UAVs up as often as possible. In this game, we don't have the option to do that, and I just feel like it takes away a lot of the choice and freedom with the Killstreak system, and I'm not a fan of that. Additionally, something I've mentioned many times in the past, and I did mention it in the perk video as well, I really feel Point Man should not be a perk. It should just be a free choice for you. For each class setup, I really feel you should have the option to choose Kill Streak, Score Streak, or Specialist Streak. You shouldn't have to use a perk on this. It should be 100% just a choice for you. The way things are balanced currently, there's not much reason to waste your second perk slot for Point Man, because it's not like it's significantly better than Killstreaks, it's just different than Killstreaks. So it might support a certain playstyle a bit more than the Killstreaks would, but it's not like it's something that's giving you a huge advantage over the people that are using Killstreaks. So why would you waste a tier 2 slot on that? This is why I just feel it should be a choice. So those are the main notes I wanted to talk about the general Killstreak system. I think there is room for improvement there. At the very least, I would love to be able to earn killstreaks several times in the same life. Even if they just wanted to make it so it's only the non-lethal streaks that you can do that with, I think that would be really helpful. But now it's time to get into the specific streaks themselves and what I would do to improve each of the streaks. So let's just start it off at the beginning with the personal radar. Honestly, I think it's in an okay place. Probably wouldn't even touch that at all. However, the shield turret, this thing needs a little bit of love in my opinion. Now, I know it's only a 3 kill streak or 2 kills with hardline, so it shouldn't be extremely powerful because it's very, very easy to earn. But as it is right now, I just don't see any reason to ever use this. You're much better off with just a gun in your hands. Because yeah, it does give you a little bit of shielding as you shoot at your target, but you're stuck in position, you're sitting duck, and the bullet velocity on this turret seems very low. I have a really hard time hitting anybody that's moving, especially at range with this. So I think that's one thing that could be done to the shield turret, is just a slight improvement to the bullet velocity to make it a bit easier to hit those targets. Perhaps to make it so this isn't like the best sniper rifle in the game at that point. Also make it so it's got slight inaccuracy or something like that. So it's still decent at mid to somewhat long range, but you can't completely snipe people across the map with it. I don't really know. I just know that at this point, I see no reason to use it, and I'd rather just use my gun. As for the next tier of streaks, the counter UAV, UAV, and care package, honestly, I think they're just fine as they are. As for the cluster strike, again, that's just another streak that I think is in a pretty good place where it's currently at. However, the cruise missile, I think some improvement could be done to the cruise missile, and this is just to the amount of time it takes to call it in. It takes you out of the fight for so long, and it just seems so unnecessary to take you out of the fight for so long. So what I would do is just pretty much eliminate that initial delay when you're pulling up the tablet and everything, and then there's a big delay before you actually see the screen of you calling in that cruise missile. I would cut that down very significantly. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's too overpowered. It doesn't give the enemy team enough time to spot that there's a cruise missile coming in and take cover. But what's actually happening here is in that initial delay, the cruise missile doesn't show up on the minimap anyways. You can hear a little bit of a sound, and that might be a cue for some people that are really paying attention to it to get inside. But I still think they could really cut down on that initial call-in animation for the cruise missile. It would still appear on the minimap for the exact same amount of time as it currently does, and it wouldn't make this overpowered by any means. It would just make it a bit less annoying to be calling it in. Now moving on from that, precision airstrike, once again, I think that's in a pretty decent place. I don't think there's too much that could be done to that. And same thing goes with the IEV. Honestly, I don't see the IEV outside of ground war, and even then, it's not people actually earning them, it's just the tanks that you see there, and I'm okay with that. I don't like the idea of IEVs being in regular, like 10v10 matches, for instance, too often anyways. However, the next one here is the Sentry Gun, and I think this one needs some love as well. Especially at a 7 kill streak, this just doesn't feel like it's worth 7 kills. Most of the Sentry Guns I've ever earned, keeping in mind I haven't earned a ton of them because it's so bad, but most of the ones I have earned end up with literally no kills at all. And I think at a 7 kill streak, if you get decent placement with it, you should be getting some consistent kills out of it. So I think with this, they just need to speed up the lock-on time, the amount of time it takes for that to recognize an enemy and start shooting at them. And I think that would make it a lot more in line for where it should be as a 7 kill streak. Now moving on to the Wheelson, Emergency Airdrop, and the VTOL, I think these are all in a great place. The VTOL is actually exactly where I feel it should be for an 8 kill streak. It's the type of thing where it does get pretty consistent kills for you, but it's not typically going off and getting like quad feeds. Every once in a while it will, and that's pretty much where an 8 kill streak should be in my opinion. As for the next one, the White Phosphorus, I think this could use a little bit of work. My main issue with this is how punishing it can be to both teams. I don't think if one of your teammates calls in a kill streak, it should be severely punishing to you as their teammate. You didn't do anything to deserve that, and I just find it's a little bit frustrating. Perhaps they could make it so the visibility doesn't get cut down quite as much for allied players. I don't even know if that's possible with the way they code it, because it might just be coded as an environmental thing and not something that can be impacted like client side. But I don't know, that's my big issue with the White Phosphorus. I just find it almost as annoying when a teammate earns it as when an enemy does. And I don't think a streak should be like that, especially at a 10 kill streak. It should be very rewarding to call one in, not punishing at all. Next up we have the Chopper Gunner, and I think this is in a great place. It's a 10 kill streak, and it feels like a 10 kill streak. It's quite rewarding to get, but it's also not that difficult to shoot down if you really work at it and want to take it down. So it's got good counterplay to it. But the next one, at 11 kills, this is the support Helo. And this thing is possibly one of the worst 11 kill streaks I have ever seen in the Call of Duty franchise. This kind of kill streak should be very powerful and consistently getting a good handful of kills every time it's called in. And it should be the type of thing where if you're on the enemy team, you should be afraid of this. As it is right now, I'm more scared of a VTOL than I am of one of these support Helos. So there is a clear problem with this, and really it just needs a simple buff of faster lock-on time. It should be able to detect and lock onto people way faster than it currently does, and then it might be in an okay place. As for the tier of 12 kill streaks, first off we have the gunship, and just like with the chopper gunner, I think the gunship's in a pretty good spot, so I wouldn't touch anything with it at this point. However, we also have the advanced UAV in this slot, and this is another streak that I feel could use some buffing simply because it is a 12 kill streak. I think the advanced UAV would be just fine how it is now if it was like an 8 or 9 kill streak, but not a 12 kill streak. At a 12 kill streak, I think this should last at least 45 seconds rather than the current time, which is 35 seconds. And at that point, I think it would be in a much better place. Even then, I still think it might be a bit weak for being a 12 kill streak, but it would be at least a little bit more valuable at that point. So finally, this leaves us with the last kill streak, the most expensive one at 15 kills. This is the Juggernaut, and this just doesn't feel like the top streak in the game. So with this, I think it could use some pretty sizable buffs. The first one that would be really simple is just increase the overall movement speed. Now yes, it should be slow, it should be clunky, it should be that type of cat and mouse play where people that don't have a Juggernaut suit can easily avoid you or run away from you if you're coming after them. Whereas if you pin them back or catch them off guard or something, that's where you absolutely dominate them. But at the same time, repositioning from one area of the map to another is just so painful in the current state with the Juggernaut, so I think it could use a bit of a boost to movement speed as the first buff. But even more than that, this is the highest kill streak in the game. I still think it could use even more than that. And this is maybe some limited health regeneration in the Juggernaut suit. Now, I don't think you should be able to fully regenerate health because then you could just be in a Juggernaut suit literally the entire game. But perhaps make it so you have different chunks of health. So for every 10% of health, that would count as a chunk. And make it so you can always regenerate up to the nearest 10% of your health. That way, the enemy team can still pick away at your health over time, and they will still eventually get you, but it would just make it so it would still encourage smart play out of you, where you want to be able to get your kills and then take some cover, and you can regenerate just that current chunk of health that you're in. So for example, when they get you down to your last 10% of health, you'll still be extremely vulnerable at that point, and they could kill you fairly easily, especially multiple people working together. But if you play it smart and you go kill by kill and you take your time between those kills, you would still be able to generate just up to that 10% point. No more than that or anything. You wouldn't want it to be way too powerful, but I think something like that would be a very reasonable buff to the Juggernaut since it is the highest kill streak in the game. But with that, that finally covers all of the streaks that we currently have in Modern Warfare, as well as what I feel could be done to make some improvements to the overall kill streak system. Of course though, like I said at the beginning, these are just my opinions. I'd like to know in the comment section below. First off, what do you guys think about the feedback that I suggested? And also, what other feedback do you have? In what other ways do you think the kill streak system could improve? Just let me know all of those thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, if you guys want to see my suggestions for perk balance, I will leave that linked in the description. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.